This is Erin Harner, gut health, IBS, and SIBO coach and functional medicine dietitian. And I want to just welcome you here. This is the live Q&A with me. I had a number of questions submitted by community members, and I'm going to go through those now with you. So the first question was asked by Jessica. So she said, I'm always tired even when I sleep at least 8 hours. Could it be related to my gut or what else might be going on? Great question, Jessica. So yes, it could certainly be related to your gut, or it could be something else. Keep in mind when you sleep at least 8 hours, it's probably not the sleep that's the problem. If you were really tired all the time and you were not sleeping well, sleep is probably the place I would start. I wouldn't focus on gut health right out of the gate because maybe gut health isn't the problem here. But if you're getting adequate sleep, even if you're sleeping at least 8 hours, something is going on and we need to think about how that might be connected. I did a video on YouTube recently on the constipation energy connection, so go check that out as one resource, but I'll give you my quick thoughts on this. So absolutely, energy can be connected to gut health and poor digestion, particularly constipation. So when we think about poor digestion, we think about poor nutrient absorption. Specifically, when we're thinking about energy, we're thinking about things like vitamin B12, iron, and protein. And those three magical nutrients, often the absorption goes down with gut issues, constipation, leaky gut, all sorts of trouble, inflammation, a dysbiosis. So we want to think about how do we increase absorption of those nutrients and making sure that you're getting enough in your diet in the first place. Gut inflammation can also contribute to systemic fatigue and systemic inflammation, and that can certainly contribute to low energy. Also, we have to think about the gut-brain axis. So there's this really important connection between the gut and the brain and the brain and the gut, and that can really affect energy and how you feel in your body. And so if there's a disruption in this gut-brain axis through the vagus nerve, we have trouble with sleep, we have trouble with mood, and we also see things like IBS very strongly affected. So we often see this with anxiety. So someone who has anxiety, that's in the brain, affects the gut, and the gut affects the brain. So if we can work on the gut, clean up the gut, do some gut healing, we can often positively affect energy, we can affect mood, we can affect some mental health things as well. And the other thing that I wanted to mention here is dysbiosis. So if there's dysbiosis, this can actually increase fatigue and decrease energy because there's an imbalance. What dysbiosis is an imbalance in the bacteria. Oftentimes, too many bad guys, not enough good guys, or sometimes the good guys overgrow too. We want to make sure that our gut is balanced and not have too many of the bad guys, because those bad guys have compounds on their outer shell called LPS or lipopolysaccharide, which can be very not helpful, very toxic to the body, and also affect energy. Next up is a question from Sarah. So Sarah asked, why am I still constipated even though I drink water, eat veggies, and I take magnesium? I hear this all the time. So thank you for asking, Sarah. Great question. So this one is for all the overachievers out there. First thing I'm going to say is that when you feel like you're doing all the right things and the thing that you're struggling with is still there, like constipation, we're probably missing something. Right? You're missing something. Either it's the wrong type of magnesium, you're eating the wrong type of vegetables or not enough of the right kinds of vegetables. You might be drinking water, but you have very few electrolytes. Right? There's so many factors here. Gut motility is certainly related here when we're talking about constipation. So constipation is basically you're having bowel movements, like I typically say less than once a day, but definitely less than every other day would be considered constipation. So if you're having constipation, we have to think about this from a big picture perspective. I would look at the different forms of magnesium. There's lots of different forms, right? Are you taking oxide? Are you taking mag citrate? Are you taking mag glycinate? Are you taking mag malate? Are you taking mag threonate? They all have different effects, and not all of them are going to help with motility or constipation. Could it be a motility issue? Could it be a nerve signaling issue? Could there be like a gut-brain thing going on, or a lot of stress? Could there be a thyroid issue where your thyroid function is very low, in which case everything gets low and slow? So we have to think about zooming out versus just thinking about, okay, I'm doing all these healthy habits. Why isn't this working? It's not working because we're missing something. So we have to understand what we're missing. And in order to do that, it really helps to have eyes on what's going on that understand the big picture and how the body works all as a system. Diet, lifestyle, and mindset. Because mindset here, the stress piece, is a really, really important component that so many people miss. Also, one thought on the fiber. So eating vegetables, taking fiber supplements, there's lots of different types of fiber. There's soluble fiber, there's insoluble fiber, there's resistant starch, and they're not all created equal. Sometimes one of those types, or eating a lot of foods that contain one of those types, will make things worse, not better. So it's really helpful to understand like the big picture of what's going on and what you and your body is. Next up, question from Emily. I've cut out gluten, dairy, soy, and eggs, and I still feel like crap. What else can I do? Well, first, Emily, I'm sorry. What I want to tell you here is that over-restriction is not the goal. The goal is to eat the widest variety of diet possible so that you can feed your microbiome, so that you can have diversity, so that you can have the function of your gut bacteria that is healthy and keeps you healthy and keeps your immune system healthy. Cutting out large categories of foods is something I see all the time, and it's something that I did personally that I wish I hadn't done. It can definitely contribute to some problems long term. So the first thing is, if this is where you are, don't beat yourself up. It's fine. Take a deep breath. But we want to think about, if you've cut out all these foods and you still feel like crap, maybe it's not the problem. Maybe the food isn't the biggest issue here, or maybe those foods might have been contributing to some of the problem, but not the whole problem. Again, understanding what's really going on, what's going on with digestion, what's going on with the microbiome can be really, really helpful to address this idea of feeling like crap, right? You deserve to feel good. You deserve to feel healthy. You deserve to feel strong. And if you are doing all these things and it's not fixing the problem, we need to actually address the problem. And this is why in my practice, I use different tests where necessary. So in my Gut Balance Method program with all my clients, I use the GI map stool test to understand what's going on with the digestive system, what's going on with the gut microbiome. We can do lots of different things to understand what's actually going on in there. But I will say, if you've cut out all these foods, and I see this all the time, you are not alone, I promise, Emily. If you cut out all these foods and you don't address the actual problem, you're just going to keep cutting out foods and still not feeling well, because cutting out foods isn't the whole picture. It's not the whole problem. So root cause testing is going to be way better than just continuing to avoid all of these foods and not understanding what's truly going on. All right, last but not least, this is from Rachel. Rachel said, I've tried probiotics and enzymes and they helped a little bit, but not much. Should I keep taking them? Okay, so a couple things I want to break down here. Supplements should be targeted for symptoms or based on testing data. Not all probiotics are created equal. The strains matter. They need to be researched for the thing that you're trying to do. A grocery store probiotic off the shelf, like, I have very little faith that it's actually going to do what you want it to do, because the potency is probably too low and I don't even know if the strains are alive in the first place. So also enzymes is another one. The pancreas releases enzymes to break down foods. Digestive enzymes that you take orally, they can help some people. They need to be matched to what you actually need. If you have low pancreatic elastase, it might be helpful to take some digestive enzymes and making sure that you're taking the right kinds of digestive enzymes for what your needs are. There's enzymes that are targeted to FODMAPs. There's enzymes that are targeted to overall digestion. There's bile that is sometimes combined with enzymes. Sometimes you'll find hydrochloric acid in enzymes. So it's like really making sure that the thing that you're doing is matched to what you actually need it to do, or it's not going to be very helpful. So it really frustrates me when I see clients who will come to me. One day I was sitting in my practice, and I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been doing this a long time, actually almost 16, which is pretty wild. But one day I was sitting in my office and a client came in for the first time for her first meeting, and she brought me literally a grocery bag of supplements. And I was like, okay, tell me about what you have here. And she like lined them all up, and she's like, I take this one 2-3 times a day before meals, and I take this one, between meals, and I take this one in the morning. And I did so she lined them all up. And she's like, well, like these 5 I'm not taking anymore, because like I was working with this doctor a long time ago and they said I didn't need them anymore. And then supplements can be very confusing. And unless you really understand what the body needs and what you're taking them for, oftentimes they're just an expensive waste of money. So the way I view supplements, there are supplements that are very, very helpful for long-term maintenance and to support the body. Things that you might not be getting from food, for example. Like, I am a believer in a good high quality multivitamin, multimineral. That is something that I do recommend to my clients. I am a believer in omega-3 fatty acids if you're not getting enough from the diet. Do I believe that every single person needs probiotics and enzymes? Nope, only if you need them. And probiotics are great for short-term things. I don't think anybody needs to take probiotics long-term unless there's a need for it. Oftentimes we can get probiotics from food, which is great, and a great diversity of probiotics in food. If we're thinking about things like the milk, obviously the dairy ones like kefir or yogurt, or some of my favorites are definitely the fermented vegetables. One of my absolute favorites is fermented ginger carrots. It's really easy to digest. The ginger is super great for the gut, and you can get tons and tons of good bacteria and a wide variety of strains in there that you can't get from a bottle that just has 2 or 3 strains. Well, there were some really great questions that came in. Also, if you're still watching and these questions hit close to home, I just want to let you know that you're not broken. Your symptoms are not your fault. If they're still there and you've tried a bunch of things and you're like, I don't know what to do next, nothing is helping, it's likely that you don't have the right plan, or you haven't dug deep enough yet to figure out what the root causes of the actual issue are. We talked about lots of different symptoms. These symptoms don't just come out of the blue. They're red flags. They're your body telling you that something is going on, and you probably need to address it, because if you don't address it, what happens is over time it gets worse. So if you're wondering so I feel like I need a plan, but I don't know what to do, I would encourage you to book a call with me. I've been a health coach and a dietitian for a long time. I really like to get to understand you and what's going on for you and how to support you in the best way possible. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye, friends.